This is James P. White from 95.7 Cruise FM, The Locker Room. Welcome to the Jedi Jimmy podcast. This is episode number 38, Andor, episode number 11. There's only one more left after this, man. I'm so excited about this series. It is getting so good. It's such a great series. Now, this episode 11, is called The Daughter of Ferrix. Now, it starts out with Andor and one of the prisoners, actually, his name is Melshi, hanging on the side of a cliff, trying to avoid a Imperial pilot that's trying to catch all the escaped prisoners. In case you forgot, they escaped from the prison last episode. Now, one thing about this Melshi guy, one of the prisoners, his name is Melshi Ruscott. He actually later in Rogue One, he's still friends with Andor. So again, Rogue One is about, at this point, 4 years later. He actually was one of the soldiers that went with him to the planet Scarif, where, him and basically the entire crew died. But yeah, so he actually shows up later on in the Star Wars universe. Just thought you might like to know. Now, as I predicted, I said this, if it wasn't last episode, the episode before, that Marva was going to die, and she did. I knew that was happening. She actually is what they call a daughter of Ferrix. So she's one of them, so they're elders of the ladies of the planet Ferrix. So the daughters actually wanted to have a funeral for Marva, but some of the Imperial soldiers actually were making it difficult for them. But actually Deidre said, make sure that they do have a funeral, give them everything that they need for this. It's a way of luring out Andor, since it is the funeral of his mother. Now, one part of the burial custom is to cremate the body, and then what they do with the ashes is they mix it in with the mortar and actually make a brick out of their ashes, and it's put on a wall to kind of as a memory to these people. So that's kind of how they do it there. Now, at this point, the Imperials and the Rebels are actually staking out Marva's house, waiting for Cassian. So actually, everybody's waiting for him right now. So his friends, the Rebels who actually want to wipe him out because he knows too much, and of course the ISB and the Imperials. Now, Now we're back on Coruscant, and Vel, she actually is at the gallery trying to find Luthen, because she needed to let him know what was going on with the fact that Cassian's mother is dead. So to let him know that she's actually going to Ferrix as part of the wait and see to try and find Cassian. Now, Marva's droid, she actually, the droid is lost without Marva. It won't leave the house. Cassian's friends are, sitting there trying to help, but it's kind of lost without her. It's a very emotional droid. You never think that to be of a droid, but that's actually a thing. And the Imperials actually go back and they're continuing to interrogate Bex, because they have a picture of Anto Krieger. So he's one of these Rebel Alliance leaders that runs a certain group, and wants to know if the picture of Luthen, of this Anto, is Luthen real, or the person that they call Axis, and she doesn't know. So they're still being hard on Bix. Now, Mon Mothma's daughter, she actually is following the Fray, which is a religious sect within the in their homeworld. It's one of their religions, and Mon Mothma is a little bit thrown off by it because, as we talked about in the last episode, is she's talking about whether or not to betroth her out, so get her married off, and that's one of the customs of the Chandrilian people as well. Now we jump back to Cyril. Like, we're hitting all the characters right now. So Cyril, he's actually got word that actually Andor's mother passed away, and now it looks like he's going to Ferrix to try and go after Cassian as well. Like, everybody's trying to trap this guy. Now Luthen goes and meets with Saw Gerrera. I love Saw. He's an extremist when it comes to the rebels. But now Luthen says that the Imperials, the ISB, actually know about Anton Krieger's ship, and it's going to be a trap. And he wants Saw Gerrera to stay away. He kind of wants to give the Imperials Anton Krieger so that he doesn't burn his spy who is in the ISB. And, it gets pretty intense at that point. Now we jump to back to Cyril. He actually goes back to his old quarters and gets something that's hidden in a vault. I'm not exactly sure what it was. It looks like some credits as well as some discs of some kind. So, again, I'm 100% sure he's going down to try and get Cassian as well. This next episode is going to be so amazing. I'm so excited about it. Now, we are also introduced to a new type of space cruiser. Again, it's an Imperial space cruiser. It's an arrestor cruiser at Catwell class. It's got very powerful tractor beams, but they are chasing after Luthen and his ship. But one cool thing about his ship is he has the tractor beam countermeasures. Basically, are like these metal pellets that shoot out the back of his ship, that when they activate the tractor beam, it pulls these pellets in and actually destroys the tractor beam. And that was pretty cool. But we learn in this episode, actually, Luthen is a great pilot because he, on his own, he single-handedly destroyed a bunch of TIE fighters with his ship. So we learn he's a great fighter. Now towards the end of this episode, Cassian actually finds out that Marva has passed away, and so he might go to Ferrix to her funeral. He might not, but it's a really sad day for him. Now, Melshi said something that's really quite intense towards the end of this episode. Actually, I believe it was the last scene. He says, that they have to tell the people what's going on back in the prison. The people need to know what the Imperials are doing. And I think that's really the whole part of the rebellion, is there's so many people that don't know what the Empire is doing. Now, my favorite quotes, for this episode, has to be in a conversation between Saw Gerrera and Luthen. So Saw says, it's for the greater good. Luthen's response was, call it what you will. And Saw finishes it with, let's call it war. Pretty cool. Episode 10, my favorite quote from that is, I'd rather die taking them down than die giving them what they want. That was from Andor, and later used by Kino Loy in his big motivational speech. Episode 9, quote from Cassian, "The less they think we know, the better." Episode 8 was Luthen, "Oppression breeds rebellion." Episode 7, Mon Mothma, "I show you the stone in my hand, you missed the knife at your throat." Episode 6, Vel, "One path, one choice. We win or everybody dies." Episode 5 is Skeen, the axe forgets, but the tree remembers. Now, I'm going to go into my previous predictions really quickly. In the Jedi Jimmy podcast, episode 29, The History of Andor, I predicted Saw Gerrera was going to be in the series, and he's been in 2 episodes so far. In episodes 1, 2, and 3, Mon Mothma, I predicted that she was going to become one of the leaders of the Rebel Alliance, and you see the seeds of that right now, so I am correct. In episode 4, I said we could possibly see Lando Calrissian, a younger Han Solo, or Chewbacca, since this is 5 years after the Solo movie. We haven't seen them yet, but I believe they will be making an appearance in the series, maybe even in season 2. Agent Kallus may make an appearance in the series, but he hasn't yet. He is a member of the ISB, and this is a very ISB-heavy series. Now, in episode 5, I said there was going to the attack on the base was going to happen, and it did. And as well as I said, a Jedi will show up in the series, possibly Galen Merrick, codename Starkiller. That hasn't happened yet, but this series is going to see some Jedi. I feel it in my bones. Now, in episode 6, Andor, I predicted that he was going to go back to the group when he escaped from the prison. That hasn't happened yet, and I'm pretty sure he's not going to because half the group wants him dead. So that one's not happening. And I do feel that this series of the ghosts from the Rebels may be involved in later episodes. So it could be in season 2. And we were gonna, and I said we were gonna see K2SO being reprogrammed by Andor. That hasn't happened yet, but it should. Next episode or next season. Now, I said that when I found out that Bix was going to be tortured, I thought it was going to be the Borg Gullet. I was wrong. And the Borg Gullet was from Rogue One. Now, I predicted that Andor was going to escape from the prison, and he did. And now in episode 10, my prediction was that in the next season we are going to see the base on Yavin 4. That's next season. And in this episode, so my predictions for the final episode is Vel is actually going to try to kill Andor and fail, because obviously he doesn't die. He's in the final movie. And Andor will go to the prison, will go to Ferrix to his mother's funeral, but he will escape from everybody that's after him. This is such a great series. I need to thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you next week when I talk about the final episode of Andor Season 1. I'm so excited. Now, I do need to thank my sponsors. First of all, the Dean Blundell Network on deanblundell.com, and as well as my buddy Army Chris for Fire for Effect Productions. He's helped me get this podcast set up and do what I do. I look forward to seeing you next week, and may the Force be with you always.